This is KVUE News Daybreak.
All eyes will be on former FBI Director James Comey today and what's being billed as a political Super Bowl. What we can expect today from him on Capitol Hill.
And a local man spent more than a year overseas serving our country, but why he was welcomed home with a $26,000 bill.
And a bug found in California now being found in Texas. What you need to do to protect your home. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us for KVUE News Daybreak. I'm Brian May.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. Well, let's get a look at what we're tracking today with Storm Team meteorologist Erica Lopez. Hi there.
Hey there. Good morning, guys. Well, a slight change in our forecast as this area of high pressure is now slowly sliding to the east. So what that's doing is changing our winds. And when our winds change from a north wind to a south wind, that's increasing moisture levels. So dew points this morning a little bit stickier than yesterday morning. We're in the 60s across the entire viewing area, close to 70, especially for our eastern counties. So here's how today's going to play out. We're increasing cloud coverage, a partly cloudy day in store. And this afternoon, because of the fact that it's so sticky out there, we do have a chance of some possible showers out there. So we're talking a 10% chance for an afternoon spotty shower in your forecast. East-southeast wind will be in place today at 5 miles an hour. Anavid has the latest on traffic. How are the roads looking this morning?
Well, we are monitoring a crash here in the Austin metro area. Let's take a look. This is a look at your Austin metro map. But let me take you over to the TexDOT camera. This is a live view at a crash that we're watching here on Mopac at Schofield Ridge Parkway. You can see APD is on the scene. This is a very active scene, so if you're heading out the door this morning, just make sure that you are aware and use caution around this area. Yvonne, Brian, back to you.
Well, today, fired FBI Director James Comey will answer questions about his interactions with the president.
This is his first time speaking in public since being fired as FBI Director. And in preparation, he released 7 pages of his conversations with President Trump yesterday.
NBC's Lana Zach breaks down what we can expect from today's testimony.
In 7 pages of detailed accounting, James Comey outlines the loyalty pledge he felt President Trump was demanding from the independent director of the FBI, writing, "The president said, I need loyalty. I expect loyalty. I didn't move, speak, or change my facial expression in any way during the awkward silence that followed. We simply looked at each other in silence." The two men alone for a private dinner at the White House. The president tried again after the meal. He then said, "I need loyalty." I replied, "You will always get honesty from me." He paused and then said, "That's what I want, honest loyalty." I paused and then said, "You will get that from me." Critics of the president pouncing.
He confirmed right out of the box this question of the president asking for loyalty. He made it clear that the president was inquiring about Flynn. That alone really almost rises to a Watergate-like level of interference.
As the Senate gets ready to question Comey in public, the prepared testimony is already being lobbed as a political football, combed over for insight into whether Comey was fired for resisting the influence of the Oval Office over what should be an independent FBI. President Trump's personal attorney claimed victory, saying the president feels completely and totally vindicated by Comey's testimony, that he did assure the president 3 times that he was not personally under investigation.
There is another big question here in the Senate. Will the president live tweet during Comey's testimony? Officially, the White House has said that he is simply too busy to tune in, but we do understand from some sources that the president has had time blocked off on his schedule. Reporting from the Capitol, Lana Zach, ABC News.
So Comey expected to testify beginning at 9 a.m. local time. Political pundits have speculated the hearing could last for a few hours. KVUE's Corey Coffin joins us now live this morning to break it all down for us. Corey?
Well, good morning, Brian. This is one of the most highly anticipated testimonies of our time. Remember, the president did have the option of using executive privilege to bar Comey from testifying over their conversations, but he didn't take it. Comey is making several claims. First, he notes 9 one-on-one conversations with the president during his time in office so far. This compared to only 2 with President Obama during his 8 years in office. Second, Trump's request for loyalty from Comey. And third, Comey's sharing of his conversations with President Trump to fellow FBI officials. Another key issue, Trump's plea to Comey to, quote, let this go in regards to an investigation into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. But does that amount to obstruction of justice?
That's where I go back to this intent. What was the intent? to prove that it's a crime becomes very important, and proving intent is always really hard.
That's UT law professor H.W. Perry Jr. He says, like the interpretation of obstruction of justice, the subject of impeachment could also be murky.
What's impeachable and what can make someone be convicted is in the eyes of the beholder, which is in the hands of Congress.
A lot to speculate here. Certainly a tense situation as the nation waits, anticipating what could come from these hearings. But some are actually trying to make light of it as the situation as much as possible. There are watch parties being held around the nation. Brian Vaughn, we know of at least 2 in Texas, Houston, and Dallas. Now, we couldn't find any here in Austin. Doesn't mean there won't be any, though. And we've seen at least 2 versions of drinking games going along with Comey's testimony. Guys.
Sign of the times. Corey, thanks. KVUE's got you covered. If you want to watch the testimony live, we will be showing it beginning at 9 a.m. right here on KVUE. If you have to work today, you can watch it on the website. Just don't tell the boss. KVUE.com. We'll also have it on Facebook Live as well, and we will have a complete breakdown with analysis on what happened tonight on the news at 5 and 6.
Well, earlier this week, Governor Greg Abbott announced he will call lawmakers back for a special session in July. The news came as no surprise to many, but how exactly will a special session work? The major difference is lawmakers will have just 30 days to pass bills instead of 140. The legislative process is the same, but lawmakers can only pass bills on the 20 items the governor listed in the special session call. While it may not sound like a big undertaking here, political experts say the opposite. They say it's quite ambitious.
20 issues is a lot, even if the legislature is in a really good mood and everybody's getting along and everybody's running in the same direction at the same pace. 20 is a lot to do in 30 days. I think some of these issues are not going to see the light of day.
Governor Abbott says since he had to call lawmakers back at the taxpayers' expense, he wants to make the special session count. Lawmakers each get a per diem of $190 a day, with 182 lawmakers for 30 days. Well, do the math, that's more than $1 million, not including overhead costs like printing and utilities. The special session begins on July 18th. Starting September 1st, Texas will have new abortion regulations. Governor Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 8 into law on Wednesday, and it bans so-called partial birth abortions, which are already prohibited under federal law. It also bans so-called dismemberment abortions and the sale or donation of fetal tissue from elective abortions. And the bill requires an aborted fetus be buried or cremated.
5:07 now. This morning, the search continues for a plane that went missing yesterday near Myanmar in Asia. A military spokesperson says bodies and a plane wheel have been found in the Andaman Sea near a small town there. The military transport plane was carrying 120 people headed to the city of Yangon. Officials say it was raining, but not heavily at the time. They're still trying to figure out exactly what happened. New sworn statements in the case involving Greg Kelly now being used to bolster his stance that he was wrongfully convicted of sexually assaulting a 4-year-old boy. His attorneys filing 2 new sworn affidavits yesterday to help overturn his conviction. The first from a former friend of Jonathan McCarty, who has been identified now as a new suspect in the case. That friend says McCarty confessed to the crime after Kelly was convicted. The second affidavit from a woman who says her son confused Kelly and McCarty, her son staying at the same in-home daycare that McCarty's mother was operating. Attorneys are trying to use that as evidence that the 4-year-old at the center of the case could have made a similar mistake because they are similar or were similar in appearance.
Well, after spending 15 months overseas, an Austin Army serviceman has come home to find an unbelievable toll bill. Check this out. The breakdown is $1,400 for the tolls and $26,000 in added fees. Thomas Peterson says his family racked up the tolls while he was gone, and the bills just fell through the cracks. Peterson says he understands he has to pay late fees, but he wants them to be reasonable. When he contacted TxDOT to explain, they told him the bill had been handed over to a collection agency, and now he can't get an answer from either agency over how to cut down on those late fees.
But $26,000 is insane, and that's extortion. That's highway robbery. I can't believe that any agency can get away with this.
A TxDOT representative tells KVUE they're looking into this and they hope to have a solution later today.
Check out this breathtaking video. This is in North Dakota. A massive tornado there yesterday touched down near Grand Forks around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. The National Weather Service saying even though it was spinning fast, the tornado was almost stationary. You can see it's barely moving. Amazingly, no damage reported. No one was hurt. It's a very remote area there in North Dakota. Luckily, no one was hurt with that. Our weather yesterday, pretty nice, Eric.
Wasn't it such a gorgeous day? The good news is that we have several rather quiet days. The bad news is that there's a little change in the forecast. We're talking increase in humidity and also very, very small spotty shower chances that I have to mention, but I think the most of us will be clear. Here's a look at what you're waking up to this morning. Live look outside of the KVUE studios. Now it's slightly warmer. We're now in the mid-70s. This morning, 75 for Camp Mabry, 70 at ABIA, and the dew points, like I mentioned, are steadily increasing. So we're a few degrees warmer throughout the entire viewing area. LaGrange expect about a 5-degree rise in your temperature from yesterday morning, and everyone is waking up to dew points in the 60s, close to 70 for LaGrange. So this is how your rush hour forecast looks like. Partly cloudy this morning. It's this afternoon. It's really just because it's so humid out there that we have a 10% chance of a spotty shower. But like I mentioned, the majority of us will be in the clear. It's just something I have to mention to hopefully not affect your guys' afternoon commute. Guys, back to you.
All right, Erica, thanks. How about some sports? Game 3 of the NBA Finals, a lot closer than the first two, but the result the same. Warriors win again. Cleveland at least made a game of this when the Cavs up 6 with about 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. But the Warriors finished the scoring by scoring the game's final 11 points. Golden State wins at 118-113. Kevin Durant led the way again, 31 for the Warriors. LeBron had 39 for Cleveland. Golden State can finish off the sweep on Friday night in Cleveland. Don't forget, the Warriors had a 3-1 lead in the finals last year, only to watch Cleveland come back and win the series. So it might not be over yet, but it's over.
In our 6 o'clock hour, I have some moments.
Oh, there's a
two
good
little
moment.
moments, yeah.
Let's give them a teaser. It's a former UT player and his pregame attire.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Is that
of
right?
course. Yes. The fashion. It's about the fashion.
Bill Cosby's accused are taking the stand again today.
What she said yesterday in the courtroom and what we're expecting today.
And a new stink bug killing crops in California spotted here in Central Texas. How to protect your plants.